beginning, man. Tell me what got you involved in dogs in the first place, where you got started.
Okay, growing up, I was raised by my dad, and he worked 12 hours and he always did dogs. As long as I can remember, we always had a dog. We went from having mutts to having top bred, good pedigree dogs as I got older, as we continued to evolve and learning and doing dogs. I've owned, I've owned some terriers, I've owned some Akitas, I've owned some Rottweilers, some Chihuahuas, some squirrel dogs, just a whole variety over my life through my dad.
Okay. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but when we talked before, you had some history in the OG bully stuff as well, yeah? Like back when they still had the fire.
Yes, absolutely. I used to have the original Remy line, Gotti and Razor Edge, and there was some real good dogs, some real hardy, sturdy, nice, and they still had that fire. You couldn't stand them up to another dog and tell them to stack like they can nowadays.
Right.
Uh-huh.
So what made you choose the Presa?
Because I started doing research, because before I owned the Presa, I owned the bullies. And before the bullies, I owned American Pit Bull Terriers. Mm-hmm. So when I was coming out of the bullies, I said, man, I really want to get back into that type of temperament of dog, but I want more size. Mm-hmm. And when I was doing the bullies, and that was the time when the tick came through, everybody wanted the tick dog. You remember the tick?
Yeah, that showed up really heavy in the Gotti stuff especially.
But at the time, I had blue, so I was like, man, I still had dreams of being a breeder. I had these nice puppies and sat on them for so long because they won tick. Mm. And so I was like, yeah, maybe the bully game ain't for me because I can't keep up with it. Mm-hmm. And so I started doing I started cleaning my yard, and me and my wife, we had moved. And when we moved, I had a backyard, but didn't have no dogs. So I took my time and started doing research, and I came up with the Pero di Presa Canario.
Okay. Now, about that style of dog.
Okay.
Is there differences? Because see, it seems like there's a big fuss right now about the actual origins of this dog or that dog and the titles on each dog. Why don't you break down the actual from what you can understand? What is the Presa Canario in comparison to like the Cane de Presa and all these other things?
Okay, so the Pero di Presa is an ancient breed. They used to use the dog for fighting, but they didn't fight like they do the American Pit Bull Terriers. They didn't fight until a dog showed games. When they feel the dog lost, they broke it up. Mm. But within the Canary Islands in the 1940s, they established law that no more dog fighting. So a lot of the genetics and a lot of the breed, it wasn't no use for it. Mm. But they still existed. And so now recently in 2000, I think it was early 2000, 2002, 2004, the International Canine Society started recognizing them as a breed again. And so when they started recognizing them as a breed again, it was another need for it. And so they started reconstructing the breed and used a lot of mastiff inside of the breed. The foundation dog of a Pero di Presa is the Mardino Bajero. Mm-hmm. It is not a massive bred dog. It don't have a lot of loose skin, it's not fawn, and it is not black.
Okay. So, basically, so what you're saying is the giants we're seeing now being called the Presa are not in fact a Presa.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
They are the Dogo Canarios.
Now, where did that come from?
It's a name they came up with because the International Society didn't want to use the word Presa because of the history that came with the word Presa. So now they accepted the Dogo Canario, and they ran with that for a couple years. Then the FCIs were like, okay, they voted back in the word Presa. So now all of them are labeled under the term Pero de Presa Canario. When a Presa was bred for big game and fighting, they was never bred to be a guardian breed. They was a butcher's dog. If the butcher want to go out and got to get a cow or whatever, they dog went and grabbed the dog and held it until they was able to come and assist it and do what they do with the animal.
Okay. Yeah, this whole thing, the topic of Presa Canario lately from, like, so many different sources is so confusing. I mean, I did a basic video on the Presa, but it's hard to tell. All I did was, I found stock footage and stock images of what the Presa was called and just did a quick history video. But this so far, well, let me not say that. I'll say the American Pit Bull Terrier confuses more people, obviously. But it seems as though the Presa word was almost the same as the AKC, not wanting to use the word pit.
Exactly. It's the same exact situation.
Okay.
But then if enough people agree to it, they just sign off on the bill and they go through with it. Just like now, within a couple of years in the Dogo Canario, they start accepting black. And with them accepting black, in the last 4 years, you got whites supposed to be Presas. You got Rottweiler markings supposed to be Presa. When a Presa Canario is supposed to have racial features and characteristics and traits, and able to do the job that it was created to do.
What you were saying earlier kind of rings true because when the ADBA people were so upset about the UKC calling something an American Pit Bull Terrier, it's like, man, if there's enough people behind it and that community exists, then that means that exists. It's just like the dollar bill. It only exists because there's enough people behind it that use it.
Absolutely.
So now it's almost as if people should accept the fact that, I'm sorry, but there's two different types of pit bulls now. And, it seems, from what you're telling me, there's probably almost two different types of Presa Canario now.
Completely.
And
Completely.
I mean, but it sucks, but it just kind of is what it is. What would you say to somebody getting into or wanting to get into Presa Canarios? What would be your first piece of advice?
Do your research and understand your life situation. If you're not experienced with dogs and you don't know what you're doing, I don't say to get a Pero de Presa Canario. Now, if you want to get a Dogo Canario labeled as a Presa, I think you'll be okay.
Okay.
Because they got a lot calmer demeanor. They was bred for show. But they get massive. They get like 160, 150.
Yeah.
The true Pero de Presa will be 115, 110 at its heaviest.
Okay, yeah, I noticed your dogs in the footage I've seen so far. Your dogs, I guess I would use the term gamier.
Right.
They're
right.
slimmer, a little faster moving, more athletic. Okay, I kind of see what you mean.
And so if with the phenotypes of the Dogo Canario, can you see them physically running down big game?
The largest dog I've seen run down like a hog would be like it was a very athletic Johnson American Bulldog.
Okay.
It had the head, it had the size, it had the features. Only it was very athletic. It wasn't so heavy.
Okay.
That's probably the biggest dog I've seen just on film take down a hog. But then when you put it that way, I think of Lee's dogs. At American Sentinel. His dogs aren't huge. I mean, they're
right.
His dogs are a $110 at best, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and he uses them for hog work. Yeah.
Right, right, right.
But they could just go and go and go.
And and so that's just what I be getting at. A lot of people that you know knows the breed but don't really know the breed. You know, and when they say, "Hey, I never seen them that look like that," what's because the true Piro de Presa is rare in the States compared to the Dogo Canario. If you see a person that got a true Piro de Presa, I guarantee you they work with their dog doing some type of physical activity.
Right.
And when I say work, I mean by if you take your dog and you teach them how to perform a certain task that you want them to perform, but I guarantee you it's some work being done. They're just the type of temperament that they come with.
So, but in your opinion, at the end of the day, now that we've covered the whole ADBA versus UKC pit bull, you don't particularly have anything against the other guys labeling for that. You would just say if you're not experienced, that's probably the route you should go, is the bigger dog.
Absolutely. I got no problem with what nobody does. You know, I don't feed their dogs and I don't pay their bills. But if you ask me a question and I know the truth, I'm going to tell it to you.
Amen. Very good. Now, are you exclusively always going to be a Presa man, or is there other breeds you're interested in?
I'll say while I'm still young and vibrant and can still handle the dogs right now, I'm going to be sticking with the Presa. But if I ever slow down and feel like they become too much for me, I think I'll be moving into the Yags or the Patterdales.
Yeah. My earlier conversation with I had another interview earlier today, and we touched on the Patterdales and the Yags. Very interesting little animals, man. They got a heart bigger than their body.
Right.
Those little animals, man. My goodness. They remind me of. I've always said they remind me of miniature pit bull terriers.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you said you're in Georgia, right? So, walk me through a little bit of your routine. What do you like to do day to day with your dogs? Do you have like a set routine, or does it just kind of depend on how the day shakes out?
It depends on how the day shakes out. If I come out and some days I might work them with the flirt pole. Some days I might work them on the slate mill. Some days I got a tire ball that I created. Some days I work them on a tire ball. You know, and when it comes to working dogs, you know, some days are better than others. Some days they going all day and you trying to keep up.
Right.
Some days you want to do something and you know it's a give and take. But I always end on a good note. You know, I do long walks, I do weight pull, but I don't do competition.
Right.
You know, I do spring pole, A-frame work. I take them out and I let them run the woods.
Now, as far as ease of training, when you let them run the woods, obviously they're off leash. Do they have a good recall?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And
I don't believe in socializing my dog with other animals.
Me either.
Because I know
agree.
they wasn't bred for that. You know, if I feel like I got to bring a break stick with my dogs, I'm not going to set myself up in a situation to lose.
Right, I agree 100%. I don't believe in raising punks. And you know, that's another thing that's good to touch on is you know, for a lot of these guys who, you know, stress socialization. I mean, I want socialization in the pack, but I don't really want to socialize with everybody's dogs. That's why I keep them away from dog parks. I keep them away from people I don't know. You know, I don't want everybody walking up on my dog. I didn't get a dog to be friendly.
Right.
Especially in this day and age.
Man, who you telling?
Right.
And I just know my dogs, you know, and
Yeah.
I just know it wouldn't be a good recipe. And, you know, I'm not going to get up here and try to shine light on that side of the dogs, but they not going to go for it, man.
Now, as far as as far as
it won't be a good day for me as the owner of the
right,
dogs.
I understand. Now, as far as pack drive is concerned, can you get two males to get along or two females to get along? How's that work?
With Park, he's very male aggressive. He's very male dominant.
You said his name was Pac?
Yeah, Park.
That's a beautiful thing.
Park the Presa. And I got him from Toriano Bonaparte in North Carolina, Black Bottom Kennels.
Okay.
And I got Goldie from Hines State Kennels, and in North Carolina or South Carolina, one of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, Hines State Kennels, man, and they not a very big kennel, but man, they set me with two awesome dogs. Awesome dogs. Then I had one litter, you know, and I kept a male and I kept a female at the house. Her name is Thing. She just turned 6 months 2 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, when she was growing up, I had to separate her and work with her with redirecting to socialize with the pack, to understand the rules, and so now she been good. I just hope when she get older that those two get along.
Okay.
Mhm.
So what would be some examples of how you prepare for something like that? What kind of drills do you run through to keep your dogs focused on you rather than focused on each other and creating some kind of competition?
I actually like the competition. You know, I have them all with the flirt pole. I work them all on the A-frame. You know, I use that competition to get a good workout a lot of times. But what I don't like is when they get very high and they start redirecting. When they start redirecting, I separate them and you get put up and you watch for that day.
Mm.
You know, and
so
it works. They don't want to miss out on a good fun day in the backyard or what we got going on.
So basically, what you're saying is like, if one turns up too much and starts redirecting towards, you know, another dog, you'll put that one up, force it to watch for the day. That way, it understands punishment, basically.
Absolutely.
But if you can't play with the pack, you can't be out here with the pack.
Absolutely.
Okay, I can see what you mean. 100%. 100%. So
and I be having the kids out, and you know, we just don't tolerate that behavior.
I got you, and I respect that 110%. So what do you feed your dogs on a daily basis?
A small kibble and a raw diet.
Walk me through a little bit of what your raw diet looks like.
I switched it up, you know, the variety of proteins, but I keep them with some organ meat, some gizzard, some chicken liver, some calf liver, some beef liver, but I don't feed them pork because it's a real wormy food. You know,
I've heard that lately.
Go to the farmer market, I get some fish, some raw fish, and I just keep switching it up so they don't be lacking a certain type of protein.
Right, that makes sense.
And I also give them vitamins.
What do you supplement the dogs with?
I give Pac, I give him a men's one a day. I give Goldie a ladies one a day, and I give Miss Thing, I give her Flintstone vitamins. The reason why I use human grade product is because it's been tested. Dog products are not regulated. They don't. If they do test their products, they test them on their own. So of course they're gonna say that they working.
That's interesting.
And it's a lot cheaper going with human products compared to animal.
That makes a lot of sense, actually. And going back to what you said about pork, man, I've been really iffy about that, even eating it myself lately. Dude, I seen this video, like, bro, I seen this fucking video on either TikTok or Instagram, one of them, where they got some pork from the store and they fucking like soaked it in Coca-Cola or Pepsi or something like that. And you could see little fucking they were parasites like rising to the surface. I said, bro, that's coming right out of the store.
Right.
Like,
right.
I used to love pork chops. Like, I saw that, I was like, what the
if
fuck?
times got hard and I had to get some pork, I definitely would cook it before I give it to him.
Right. Now,
Definitely.
now, as far as, okay, so as far as, if you're hunting with the dog and they catch a hog, would you cook up the hog meat and give it to him?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I wouldn't flip a boar over and stab a boar and let it go to waste. They work for that. They earn that. So, and that'll take off of my feeding bill for a good little minute.
Now, have you done that?
But I boil it though. I boil it completely. My daddy process it, and we boil it and freeze it.
Now you've done this before.
Yes, absolutely. That's how I test the temperament on my dogs.
Now I've never been on a hog hunt, and I'm dying to go. I just don't know if I have the right stuff yet to go. That was, I mean, the two that I have that I bred, it, like I said before, it was a 10-year process. I mean, I knew a long time ago what blood I wanted as far as the Mastiff, but I had to find the right, bull blood. But so this is just the first go around. But I definitely want to take something from this at some point and actually go on a hog hunt. Man, what's it like?
Man, it's awesome bonding with your dog, but you also want to test your dog before you take them out there, and you got to see if they like doing their job before you get them out there. You definitely got to see what they made of before you take them out there. And once you do that and you like what you see and you willing to trust that dog with your life, you ready to go.
Okay.
You actually learning that dog's style, teaching that dog the target, making sure the dog want to be there, and the dog very intense because the hog is going to be intense. It's not going to play.
I got this piece of footage that my Borbals breeder sent to me from Integrity Borbal Kennels, and he wasn't even really on a hunt. He was just he got this giant piece of land recently, a huge piece of land, and a hog ran up on him, and so my dog Yoshi, it was his father, his mother, and his aunt. I mean, they just jumped on this hog. I mean, they were ripping this hog up. So I kind of think, with how intense he acts, it seems like he already has that in him.
Okay.
But with as heavy as a Borbal is, I mean, he's not. Say it again.
Well, if you got some bay dogs, it can work. You can keep the dog on leash until on the back of the 4-wheeler, and when they bay, you can get out the 4-wheeler and let him go. He ain't got to be a running catch dog.
Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I know he's got...
I actually seen some people using some Corsos.
I've seen that a time or two. I've seen Corsos. I've seen Dogos. I've seen some press. Well, what they call I mean, this is still all. I mean, I'm getting torn from every angle here about what a Presa is now, but we're gonna figure it out. Damn it.
Right.
We're trying to do this.
You got farmers that need you to come in and because they rooting up the land.
Yeah.
I say all over Georgia, it's some nice hogs. Georgia, Florida, Louisiana. That's the South period, man. It's some nice, mean hogs out there.
Yeah, I'm in South Carolina, but I heard that there's guys out here who own certain lands, and hell, I heard this one guy. He was asking about what kind of dogs I had and everything. He was talking about paying me to come out and clear land with dogs, and I'm just like, man, that's really a thing. And not only that, it's 100% legal way to test your animals.
Absolutely.
So I mean, it's a win-win right there. Like, I mean, it's exciting. It's exciting.
It really is.
So moving forward, do you have end goals in mind?
As in it's really no goal. It's just I'll be doing dogs for the rest of my life. I just, as of right now, I just want to bond with the ones that I got, and maybe 2 years from now I might have another litter. But I won't breed again until the ones that I produced at 6 months old, until they be proven, and then that's when I consider that a good breeder, and then I might run those two back.
I respect that. On the topic of training, you mentioned the tire ball, which I seen the footage of, which is fucking ingenious. What sparked that in your mind to do that? And you're gonna have to make sure you send me a clip of that for the video.
Okay. Okay.
What sparked that in your head to do that?
I got you. It because when they get the biting on the tire together, they be leaning down, and then one of them will step in the tire, and now you can't move the tire. And so I was like, man, it got to be a way I could. And I tried, and I got an A-frame, and I tried to hang the tire up, and I realized they didn't really like it like that.
Okay.
I hung it up, they'll walk right by it, didn't mess with it. But if I pull it down, they jumping on it. They all in on the tire. So I was like, man, let me see what I can do. And so I thought about it. How can I take a tire and turn it into a ball? And once I turned it into a ball, I went to my brother-in-law house. He worked on. He like, man, you cut you a slit here. Go to Ace Hardware, get you a 3-inch screw and a bolt, and put it there so it don't move. And I promise you that it'll stay there. And we got together and we put it together, man. And when I brought it to the house, man, they had the time of their life.
Now, as far as obedience, do you use standard obedience for your dogs, or do you have certain things you use personally that work better?
When you say standard, what you mean by standard?
Like,
obedience?
okay, well, standard obedience, you have your basic obedience, advanced obedience, and this is just what most people go by. Do you have certain tricks of the trade that might help some of the listeners as far as how you train your dogs different than other people do?
I basically do basic obedience, exposure, and once they start getting, once they hit a year old, I don't let them tug on nothing that's in my hand.
Okay.
So if I reach for it, it automatically means drop it.
Now, expand on that a little bit. Why is that?
Because a lot of times a dog will get tested. If sometimes you don't want to play. Now, if the child got some in their hand and it's in their possession, I don't want any, situations. Just say my son picks up the toy rope, or now if I engage it, absolutely we can play, but I actually have to engage play with my dogs.
Okay.
Because they constantly, I got 7 kids. I raise them with 7 kids on the daily, from 5 all the way to 18.
Okay.
Super
Super producer.
etiquette. I teach them how to deal with the dogs, and I teach the dogs how to deal with them.
You're a super producer all the way around, huh?
I got it. I try to be proactive rather than reactive.
Right. No, I meant super producer, such as you have 7 kids and you're a dog breeder.
No, I wouldn't classify myself as a breeder. I just like to do dogs. I have a litter here and there. I like to work dogs, man. It just, at a long day, working, paying bills, taking care of kids, it's my comfort zone coming home and dealing with the dogs, the kids, and, I've been that way all my life. I just always had some dogs.
That's a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. I respect that. So, outside of the Patterdales, the Yags, and the Presas, is there another dog you look at and say, man, that's something impressive? Is there another breed out there that you're impressed by?
I would have to say Malinois and German Shepherds, man.
Yeah?
Yeah, man. I seen some bad mouths, man. If I wasn't in a situation the way I was able to really take them out and work them, and because I hear people say that they not family family dogs. You know, I don't know. I never owned one.
Right.
But from when I seen one, man, they be high sprung and ready to work all day, every day.
Constant.